Holy crap, everybody, we got our first Game of Thrones teaser trailer, so we gotta break it down. Obviously, just implying what's going to be happening with the final battle, a battle of fire and ice. HBO is referring to this as the Dragonstone teaser because it's taking place inside Dragonstone in the room of the map table, where they spent most of Season 7 planning all their battles. We're also doing a new round of that George R. R. Martin book giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your favorite moment from the teaser on the video. So if you're not sure about the perspective that they're giving you here, the beginning of the teaser where the wall of ice at the top of the table comes spilling in is meant to be the wall. So the left side is the north part of the table, the right side of the table that you then shift to later in the teaser is the south side when you're coming up from King's Landing with the fire. This is a reference to the Night King and his army of White Walkers breaching the wall and slowly making their way south. R.I.P. Wildlings, R.I.P. Umbers at the Last Hearth, and R.I.P. Karstarks because they're on the Night King's way as he comes down to Winterfell. Then when the wave of winter washes over the wolf, that's them crossing the boundary of Winterfell. So obviously, big battle happening at Winterfell. They spent a lot of time filming there. It's probably going to be one of the biggest spectacles of the season. Then when the camera shifts right a little bit and you see the cold go down this way, this is actually the Eyrie that we're looking at in the Vale. So that's just teasing that the Night King's army is going to come very far south. Obviously, the fire eventually meets it. We'll talk about where the fire meets it because that kind of lets you know where the big final battle is going to take place. You see the Twins, you see Riverrun, you see Pike, all the big locations that we've been on the show before represented on the map as winter washes over them. Then winter washes over the dragon. That's meant to represent Viserion because you see the icicles hanging down from it. So Night King gains the ice dragon. Then as winter starts to spill over the trident and down past Harrenhal, you see the camera shift right and you see fire coming up from the south in King's Landing. The fact that it's engulfing the lion is meant to represent Cersei at King's Landing. Even though it was a big controversy during Season 7, when they did the intro, they didn't change the house sigil of the stag for Baratheon to the Lannister lion when Cersei took the throne, which we all felt like they should have because essentially all living Baratheons had been eliminated with the exception of Gendry. But for the purposes of the show, the Lannisters had usurped the throne, so it should have been a lion on top there. So a lot of people felt like that was an omission, like they didn't want to spend the time to go in and change that in the opening credits, even though they do subtly change the opening credits every season just a little bit. Maybe they'll correct that oversight for the final season, we'll see. But the fact that fire is washing over the lion implies that Daenerys' dragons and her army with Jon Snow and his army are going to overtake King's Landing. That'll be one of the other big final battles. There's two essential huge battles that they'll be fighting. One up at Winterfell with the Night King's army, and then one down at King's Landing. We don't know exactly who's going to be involved in that battle. But the thing is that the fire washes past the lion, meaning that they move north from King's Landing. And as the fire rises to meet the ice, it almost looks like they're meeting each other near the Isle of Faces, up closer to the Twins, like at this really small area where the Children of the Forest had previously tried to crack Westeros in half. Because as the fire meets the ice, you see all this black rock rise up. That's meant to represent the final battle in the role that Obsidian plays in defeating Whites, White Walkers, and the Night King. Although the actual method of killing the Night King is a little unclear. Like, we don't know that he's just as vulnerable to Dragonglass as the regular White Walkers are. Like, it's implied that he has a level of power that goes way beyond them. So it might take something a little extra special to kill him. There have been a lot of theories about Arya's dagger, that it may have belonged to Rhaegar Targaryen, the role that the ruby plays in it. They spent a lot of time referring to it as a touchstone in a beginning for the War of the Five Kings, even though there were a lot of reasons for the War of the Five Kings. So the fact that it is now in the hands of Arya, a faceless person who's supposed to be one of the most badass killers on the show, is no coincidence. But the fact that the fire is meeting the ice just north of King's Landing implies that the final battle will be somewhere around there. But this is meant to be a very general teaser. They just play in a lot of metaphors, so I wouldn't take it too literally, but they're basically telling you how the season is going to go down, where the big battles will take place, Winterfell with the wolf here, down at King's Landing with the lion, and then a little bit north of King's Landing with the Night King's army. But because we know that there's going to be a big battle at Winterfell in episode 3, that also implies that the Night King will not be defeated. That won't be the final battle with the White Walkers. They'll actually make it further south after that battle. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think happens during that first big battle? Because they did say that they spent so much time filming it from so many different perspectives, so you get a narrative thread for each character through the battle instead of just a couple quick scenes of them killing a White or a White Walker and then moving on to the next person. Because you have Drogon and Rhaegal fighting the Night King on Viserion's back, and a dragon battle is probably going to be the highlight of that episode, even though there's so much other stuff going on. Then recently, there were also the confirmations about some of the character turns at the end of last season that they have to pay off this season too. So given the fact that there's going to be a huge battle at King's Landing, and now we know it's confirmed from the scripts and from Peter Dinklage himself that Tyrion is smitten with Daenerys and is not happy about her relationship with Jon Snow.
Like, what am I going to do with this? Because just as everything was coming together, everyone was going to join together to fight, inevitably Game of Thrones will tear us apart once more.
It's dangerous for everybody involved. I'm sure it's good for both of them in the moment, but you don't even get the relief of how beautiful it could be or should be. It's not good. But it should be, but it's not. It's Game of Thrones. There's a long history of romance not ending well on this show.
Add to that he's also still loyal to his family, even though nobody really likes Cersei that much. He still feels like she's family and isn't going to want to kill everyone in King's Landing. And think about what would happen if Daenerys tasked him with taking the city, and what happened with Robert's Rebellion during the Mad King with Jaime's twist. There was a huge betrayal. So just on a character level, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to find a way to bring it back around to that. Like give Tyrion a version of what Jaime had to go through during the end of Robert's Rebellion. There's been a lot of talk of betrayals, but I think the only things that would cause Tyrion to betray Daenerys would be asking him to kill a lot of innocent people, like the people of King's Landing, or to kill his family. I think even if it were Cersei, it would give him great pause. And Daenerys knows that, but she's also kind of given him that stare earlier during season 7. Don't cross me or that'll be the end of you. She said the same thing to Varys as well. But even though Tyrion and Varys have their own little circle apart from Daenerys where they talk about her and all the problems they have with trying to manage her, I think that Varys is a little more responsible to the people. Like he cares about the realm itself, so he'll do what's best. And he doesn't care too much about collateral damage in the way that Tyrion might. So here's my other big question for you guys. Let me know in the comments, what do you think the other big betrayals of season 8 are going to be? Because the cast tease that everyone is going to betray everyone else. I think they were exaggerating a little bit. Like the drama won't be that crazy, but I do think that there was a little truth in there. Like there will be a couple of characters that you care about, main characters betraying other main characters. The reason why they dropped this trailer is because CCXP Brazil Comic-Con is happening this weekend, and HBO did a big Game of Thrones panel because Comic-Con isn't happening till after Season 8 premieres, so this is like the last big convention for them to come and answer a bunch of questions and drop footage. So if there's any other cool information that they drop or any details about Season 8, I will totally do a breakdown video about it. But like the title card for the premiere says with the date, it just says April 2019. I've already done a breakdown video of all the information HBO has given us and the clues that kind of narrow that down to a more specific date. So just to make a more conservative estimate, I would say tentatively pencil in April 28th, which is the last weekend in April, for the actual episode 1 premiere. Because there are a couple of shows that they have to air, and unless they double up on episodes, they won't be ready to drop Game of Thrones till the very last weekend in April. But they could always change that schedule a little bit, so as we get new information and we get more big trailers in January, I'll do more update videos about that. So no worries, there's still a lot more new stuff to come. Leave all your Game of Thrones video requests in the comments below. Congratulations, Ernesto Reyes. You're the giveaway winner for my last big Game of Thrones video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Click here to watch Kit Harington talk about the end of Game of Thrones, and click here for all my new Fire and Blood book Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.